Next on the news, they're hitting the books again. Students in the Diocese of Brooklyn are back in class under a new leader.
His plan is to put these kids first, and today more than 30,000 of them are starting school. I'm Jessica Easthope with how Superintendent Deacon Kevin McCormick is kicking off the year.
Governor Kathy Hochul makes a major announcement about masks and where you are no longer required to wear them. Also,
I've been blessed with something that I've never experienced in my life. There's a fire inside me that I've never had before.
He's honoring the flight crews lost on 9/11. Paulie Venito tells us how this year's walking tribute will be different.
Get out of here, Gary.
Plus, one family gets quite a scare when they find an unwelcome visitor who broke into their house while they were home. I'm Christine Persichetti. Currents News starts right now. Backpacks and pencil cases were unzipped, hands were raised, and the kids are ready to learn. It's back to school for students across the Diocese of Brooklyn, and they got a welcome from their new superintendent who says the sky's the limit for Catholic schools. Currents News' Jessica Easthope spoke with Deacon Kevin McCormick about his plans for the new year.
The buzz of a classroom on the first day of school. The excitement and anticipation of what lies ahead is second to none, and not just for the students in the Diocese of Brooklyn.
Good to see you guys. So my name is Deacon Mac.
It's his first day of school too. Deacon Kevin McCormick, or as he wants to be called, Deacon Mac, the new superintendent of Catholic schools.
Zach's got his big plans for you.
Deacon Mac is starting his journey at a time when schools in the diocese are boasting big numbers. There are 3,000 new students, and more than a third of diocese schools have enrolled more kids than in 2019, before the pandemic.
Oh my goodness, they're thriving. Our schools are doing tremendous work. We're just beginning.
And Deacon Mac has big plans to match. He's putting kids and a Catholic education first, emphasizing support and respect for teachers and focusing on education as an essential part of diocesan growth.
Meow.
His first stop was the oldest school in the Diocese of Brooklyn, St. Michael's Catholic Academy, a place that's taken cultural immersion to a new level. Every student speaks and takes classes in Mandarin.
Everybody is represented here.
Everyone gets treated the same, even when it's their birthday.
He also toured St. Andrew Avellino Catholic Academy, where his welcome took away those first day jitters.
I was also a little nervous, but now I'm not nervous at all.
As the oldest new kid in the Diocese of Brooklyn, Deacon Mac's hoping to accomplish one thing: further the mission of Catholic education.
They need to give the schools that they went to support so that the next generation can be there.
It's a home away from home.
We have new students, and I hope to make friends with them.
Deacon Mac will be getting to know the Diocese of Brooklyn well. He'll visit schools every day for the next 2 weeks. In Flushing, Jessica Easthope, Currents News.
Parents looking to see all the Catholic school options available in the Diocese of Brooklyn can do so online at thetablet.org. The paper put together a special supplement with more than 50 pages detailing the benefits and values each Catholic academy in Brooklyn and Queens has to offer. It also includes information on their open houses, so you can check out the schools in person. Again, you can find all that and more online at thetablet.org. And while you're there, be sure to subscribe so you can get the paper delivered directly to your mailbox. And if you're sold on a Catholic education from the Diocese of Brooklyn, there's still time to enroll. Just visit CatholicSchoolsBQ.org or call 718-965-7380 for more information. This is the first time in 2 years that children are heading back to school without any major COVID restrictions, but there are still some rules in place. According to the Department of Education, vaccinations are still required for all employees, visitors, and students who play in high-risk sports. Daily health screenings are not needed, but if staff and students test positive, they must isolate for 5 days. They can return on day 6 if they have no symptoms or if they're improving, but in that case, they must wear a mask until day 10. The classroom isn't the only place where COVID restrictions have loosened. Wednesday, Governor Kathy Hochul announced that masks are no longer required when you're taking mass transit.
We haven't seen any spikes, and also people are getting back to work and they're getting back to school, and we're just, while you're in those places not wearing a mask, it makes sense to not worry about it on the way.
Hochul made the announcement moments before receiving her latest COVID booster shot. The White House has started rolling out the new shots earlier this week in hopes of targeting the different Omicron subvariants, which currently make up nearly 99% of COVID cases in the country. Governor Hochul's announcement comes as federal health officials say you may need to get a COVID shot every year. Amy Kiley reports on what you need to know about this new booster and what you need to be wary of.
I really believe this is why God gave us two arms, one for the flu shot and the other one for the COVID shot.
Health officials say COVID boosters are likely to become annual starting this fall. They say people can get them the same day as their flu shot.
With annual updated COVID-19 shots matched to the currently circulating strains for most of the population.
The CDC recommends a new booster that's available starting this week. It's a combination of the old vaccine recipe and new protection against the current Omicron versions. People 12 and older can get the Pfizer version. The Moderna one is for people 18 and up.
We expect millions of people to get the shot this month as folks get back to school, get back to work, and get back into their regular routines after the summer.
But the annual booster plan has some caveats. It could change if a new variant causes a major surge, and some people at higher risk might need more than one shot a year.
For those who have underlying conditions, immunocompromised, we may need to do it more.
The virus isn't causing as much severe illness these days, but it's still around, and experts say it could be for years.
I just tested positive for COVID, and so I'll be taking my meetings from here, from home, virtually for the next few days until I test negative.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
To find a vaccination site near you, go to covid19vaccine.health.ny.gov. That's covid19vaccine.health.ny.gov. To the migrant crisis now, and the Windy City seeking help as more buses arrive. The Archbishop of Chicago, Cardinal Blaise Cupich, has pledged support for those who have been bused to his city by Texas Governor Greg Abbott, saying in part, treating children of God as political pawns is unbecoming of any elected official, especially when it involves marginalized, suffering people. The Archdiocese of Chicago stands with local municipal and religious leaders who have pledged to support these new arrivals seeking better, safer lives. The bus rides to Chicago, Washington, and New York are just one leg of the trip for the migrants, but it all starts with a perilous journey just to make it to the Mexican border, and it can be dangerous and even deadly.
It's a brief moment of joy. These migrants are finally atop the beast. It's one of the last steps in the dangerous long journey to reach the Mexican border. Some call it the train of death. They walked for 2 months, went days without food, slept on sidewalks as they made their way north from Venezuela. They say they're escaping government turmoil and poverty in search of a better future. After reaching the U.S. border, they were put on a bus to New York. It's all part of that program by Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who says the thousands of migrants are too much of a burden on state resources and wants them to go elsewhere. So for several weeks, thousands have been arriving at the Port Authority bus terminal, dropped in the heart of Manhattan, knowing little about the city or where to get help. That's where volunteers like Ilza Thelman come in.
People are showing up dehydrated, no food. Everyone is famished when they arrive.
She's also housing this family after learning they would be sent to separate shelters because they couldn't provide documentation showing family ties. The shelter system is already struggling to keep up with a recent increase in the homeless population in New York. Abbott's office said the busing mission is providing much-needed relief to overwhelmed border communities in his state. But advocates say that relief comes at the expense of the migrants' health and safety.
To just send people blindly without any screening or consideration of what their actual needs are is just cruel.
Like Ilza, hundreds of volunteers have mobilized trying to help.
This is a loving city. So I'm very proud. I'm really proud to be part of this city.
Reports say Texas has spent more than $12 million so far busing migrants to Washington, D.C. and New York. Catholic Charities of New York is seeking help to assist the migrants arriving from the southern border. The organization has set up an Amazon wish list of essential items such as shoes, socks, baby items, and clothing for children. To donate, just go to their Twitter page at Cath Charities NY. A link to the wish list will be available there. There's a lot more news headed your way. It's a deadline that's just days away. Time is running out for 9/11 first responders and recovery workers to apply for benefits from the state. And he's on a mission to remember the flight crews lost on September 11th. We'll speak with Paulie Veneto about this year's tribute. And the resident of a NYCHA building who says he suffered arsenic poisoning from the water.
There are now some big changes to the tablet website. You can get personalized access to the Catholic news you value. Sign up for free at thetablet.org.
We are just days away from 9/11, marking 21 years since the terrorist attack on our city and our country. One man is on a mission to never forget. You might remember Paulie Veneto from a story we showed you last year. The retired United Airlines flight attendant pushed his snack cart all the way from Boston to Ground Zero to honor the flight crews lost on 9/11. And this year, he's at it again. Paulie will be pushing his cart from Washington Dulles International Airport to the Pentagon. Just hours before he starts walking, Paulie joins us now. Hi, Paulie. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
So we caught up with you at the tail end of your push in Manhattan last year. What an incredible journey, but I'm sure an exhausting one too. So what made you want to do this again?
Well, I can tell you I had no intention of doing it again. I accomplished what I set out to do before I even got to Ground Zero last year, which was I needed national attention so that all these crew members' families that lived around the country would hear this message from all of us that we do recognize them as the first responders of 9/11. So what transpired was just something we couldn't even dreamed of when we left Boston. And it turned into more than I could have imagined. The only reason I did this was to recognize these crew members for their heroics that morning. It was the only reason. It's still the only reason. But what happened was it turned into more where people were coming out of their homes and on the street waiting for me, divulging stories to me about stuff that they hadn't told their own family members. And it was sort of catching me off guard. I didn't understand why these people were doing this. They were seeing me on the news. And they just felt compelled to come out and tell me what was going on in their own lives. And that I seem to have inspired them to overcome whatever problems they were having.
I think it's an amazing story, and I've been watching your videos on your website. But this trek is now following the flight path of American Airlines Flight 77. It's shorter than last year's, but it's still got to be very emotional. You know, tell me, how has the whole experience affected you, having all these strangers come out and speak to you on your trek?
Well, it absolutely is. I've experienced something that I can't even put to words. That I'm so grateful for. First of all, that I have the opportunity to do this. If I can inspire anybody, well, there's no better feeling. And I just didn't plan it to be this way, and I'm okay with it. But it's really something special. It hasn't stopped since I started doing this. It hasn't stopped. People are coming into my life. A gentleman donated his RV to me, and you know, I don't know how to explain it, but it's almost like I'm not making these decisions. It's just happening. These decisions are being made for me by people coming into my life, and I'm okay with it. I'm meant to do this. I know that. If I can bring any type of relief or comfort to anybody, because everybody has a story about 9/11.
Right.
There wasn't one person that didn't tell me a story.
Now, you've said that you were given a second chance in life. Has your faith strengthened in the past 21 years?
I know that I've been blessed with something that I've never experienced in my life. There's a fire inside me that I've never had before. I'm on a mission that there is no doubt in my mind that I could not accomplish. I felt that way last year. I knew I was going to be at ground zero. Everyone else might have had, I knew people doubted it, but I didn't. It never even crossed my mind. I feel the same way today. And every day I wake up now, I open my eyes, and I know there's no barrier in my life. So,
well, we wish you a lot of luck on this journey of yours, Paulie Veneto. Thanks for joining us.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you very much.
And Paulie's Push is raising money to help the families of those flight attendants. To donate, just go to pauliespush.com and click Donate in the upper right-hand corner. A deadline is looming for recovery workers who volunteered in Lower Manhattan after the 9/11 terror attacks. They have until Sunday to register for benefits from the New York State Workers' Compensation Board. The program helps people who became disabled due to 9/11 related illnesses, and those who registered are not required to be sick. This is the third extension of the deadline. Initially, individuals had until 2010 to file for protection. Be sure to stay with Currents News and the tablet for the latest on that deadline for first responders and volunteer workers as we continue to remember the heroes of September 11th and the sacrifices they made on that tragic day. A Navy chaplain turned American hero was honored in his hometown. 250 people gathering at Fort Wadsworth in Staten Island on Sunday for a memorial service on the 55th anniversary of Father Vincent Cappadano's death. The Maryknoll priest was hit by 27 bullets while administering medical and spiritual attention to Marines in Vietnam. The Grunt Padre, as he was affectionately called, received a Medal of Honor for his sacrifice, and now there's a push for sainthood. But recently, Father Cappadano's sainthood cause was stalled, theological consultants citing several concerns as to why the chaplain could not be a saint. But at this Staten Island Memorial Mass, a prominent archbishop said he was fighting back. To learn more, be sure to pick up a tablet newspaper at your local church this weekend. Crime in New York City has been on the rise this year, and August was no exception. According to the latest statistics from the NYPD, almost every major crime category saw an increase in August compared to this time last year, with robberies, grand larceny, and burglaries jumping more than 30%. The good news is that the city saw a 30% drop in shootings and a 54% drop in murders. New test results released Tuesday night continue to come back negative for arsenic at a NYCHA complex in the East Village. However, the damage has already been done. One resident says he has been diagnosed with arsenic poisoning. He says he had been feeling ill for weeks and has been dealing with chronic diarrhea, headaches, and a strange taste in his mouth. While the water tests are coming back negative, city officials are still encouraging residents to not drink or cook with the tap water. Wreaking havoc in New York and around the country, a bug slightly bigger than a penny. The spotted lanternfly is being considered a big threat to crops and jobs, and officials are advising to squish anyone you see. Luckily, the tablet newspaper is breaking down the bug, showing what they look like from every stage of life and giving helpful tips on how you can stop them from spreading. So again, be sure to pick up a copy of the tablet newspaper at your local church. And if you want future editions sent straight to you, just subscribe at thetablet.org. An inferno raging on the West Coast in the middle of an intense heat wave, while the Northeast has flooding that's affecting more than 50 million people. Chris Wynn has the latest on the flames and floods.
This building was no match for relentless rains that have saturated Rhode Island, giving way as roads turn to rivers across the state.
Can't believe it, man, just gone.
In Indiana, devastation is being revealed by receding floodwaters that turned deadly. The family of a woman trapped in her house, killed by rising waters, says they've lost everything.
Seeing what I seen has just been etched in my mind. It's, you know, you see your family member laying there in that kind of shape.
In Southern California, aerial images are revealing massive swaths of scorched homes and scorched earth, the flames of a fast-moving wildfire turning deadly.
That fire burned rapidly through Avery Canyon, injuring one civilian and unfortunately taken the lives of 2 additional civilians in that canyon.
As some Californians flee flames.
Outside about 110, inside it feels like what? 120, even more.
In the northern part of the state, people without power are sleeping outside in tents as they find ways to cope with a severe and oppressive heat wave.
People are always like, hey, you're camping in your backyard, you must really like nature. No, bro, we don't got air conditioning. So hot.
In Los Angeles, I'm Chris Wynn.
At least 74 people are confirmed dead after a 6.6 magnitude earthquake jolted China's Sichuan province on Monday. Wow, a vehicle's dash cam captured the moment the tremor hit. Trees could be seen violently swaying just before a building crumbled onto the street. While recovery efforts are underway, so far nearly 260 injuries have been reported and at least 26 people remain missing. Still to come on Currents News, we'll take another look at those smiling faces as students went back to school in the Diocese of Brooklyn. And we'll tell you about a home intruder with a sweet tooth who made quite a mess in the kitchen. Do you have a story idea or want to share a tip? Email us at newstips@desalesmedia.org or call our 24-hour number, 718-517-3122. We'll be right back. Finally tonight, a family in California had an unexpected and unwelcome visitor, and he was quite hungry. As Amy Johnson reports, a black bear broke into their home while they were there and helped itself to everything in the kitchen until police arrived.
Hey, Bear! Bear, get out of here, Bear!
Body cameras captured the wild scene as Simi Valley police made their way into this home to shoo a bear out, and it ran up into a tree after the homeowner heard some strange sounds coming from her kitchen Sunday morning.
So I kind of leaned into the door a little bit of the kitchen, and I'm kind of peeking around, and I see my kitchen is kind of destroyed. A chocolate cake I made for a barbecue that day was dumped over.
But the mess was only the beginning. The culprit was still there.
It looked like somebody in a bear costume.
No costume. This was definitely the real deal.
He was standing there, he or she was standing there, turned around and looked at me, and I thought, that is not somebody in a costume. And I flew upstairs, yelled for him, and I said, Scott, we have a bear in our house.
Her son thought she was making the bear tale up.
I didn't believe her at first because we do not have bears in Simi Valley.
He had to check for himself.
I looked downstairs to see where it was at because it got all quiet. And then I took a peek at it. It was really laying on top of the counter, like how a dog would. And it looked at me like, hey, hey, what's up, man? And you mind if I just chill here for a bit? I'm like, yeah, just enjoy your time until the cops come.
Picture shows some of the damage, scratched up cabinets, and a huge mess.
It ate avocados I had on the counter. It ate the nectarines.
Oh my goodness, that was Amy Johnson reporting. As far as the chocolate cake goes, the bear ate half in the house and then returned the next day to get the other half that was in the trash. All right, before we go, we just want to say we hope everyone had a good first day back at school. I love seeing all of the videos and pictures, so I decided to share my own, but not my kids' pictures, mine. This is me in 5th grade at St. Rita's Elementary School in Long Island City. Many years and many hairstyles ago. I hope all the students in the diocese have an amazing year, and I still look the same, right? That is Currents News. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news. And in honor of this first day back at school, we want to take one last look at the bright and shining faces of new students as they start a new school year. Hope to see you again next time.